Welcome to the TraderPrad show. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you had a wonderful Wednesday. It is Thursday today. Why did I say Wednesday? Hopefully you had a wonderful Thursday, October 26th, and hopefully you made some money over there. Hopefully you were continuing to keep on stacking the amount of money you've been making this whole month. How did your day go today? Let me know in the chat. I see Piccolo and Dan Duval in the chat. Glad to see you're not shadow banned today again, Dan Duval. AI thumbnail, yeah, the I see dead people from the Sixth Sense kid. Basically taking that meme over there, turning it into how I am currently seeing dead portfolios, sadly, because I managed to turn my whole month red. And got pretty damn tilted today off of a specific trade. And that's four straight losing days in a week. That's pretty sad, pretty bad. But I'm on a slump right now in a little bit of in my own headspace, I guess, in some way over there. But we'll come back out of it. It's not how many times you fall, it's how many times you get back up, right? So I gotta make sure we get back up tomorrow, find those trade opportunities, and then fight those trades tomorrow and get back to the prime spot that we once were, and then go back to building consistency and so on. So as obviously you guys heard how my day went. You get the thumbnail to the IC dead portfolios. That's where that comes from, especially bleeding into yesterday, where I was digging a hole, right? I was digging a hole yesterday, and then today I'm just adding on to the bleeding, sadly. Thankfully, the Monday's loss and the Tuesday's loss weren't they were pretty much flat days. But it's Wednesdays and Thursdays, the last 2 days of this week so far have not been the best trading days for me. I'll just put it that way. Not been the best ones. But we'll come back tomorrow. Fridays, which are usually our worst days, I'll promise you, we'll come back tomorrow and the week hopefully green, maybe not, but we'll see. Maybe we can end the week green, but we're going to hopefully have at least one green day on the week over here, not have a full week of just reds. That would be pretty damn sad. As we always do over here on the TraderPrad show, at 8 o'clock, we start looking at all of our trading opportunities. But first, we start off by looking at all of my trades on the day. How did I trade? What happened with my trades? How could we have gone better from there? So why don't we start off with everything on that side? So come on in, and if for any chance, if you have any questions, why did I say any chance? If you have any questions or any comments, feel free to put it in the chat. I'm always taking a look at the chat, you know that. This is our watch list for today, but we'll start off with our trades on the day. I think this was one of my first trade or second trade on the day, I guess. I think actually this was my first trade on the day, honestly. Yeah, this was my first trade on the day. Mattel came out with earnings pre-market. Good earnings report, but they sold off quite a bit off that report, and they were down like 20 some odd percent in pre-market. Big drop in pre-market itself. And this is the daily chart that you're seeing on the upper part of this picture. We can kind of zoom in over here. You can see the price, $16.22, which was exactly the low of December 2022. So the December 2022 low, we kind of had that level mapped out. We also had another level mapped out. I guess that's a 2023 low, basically, around $15.36. Let's say 15.50. So I had a couple areas where I wanted to try some longs on this position. First, on the day as the stock opens, I'm watching it flush, but the 1650 area seems like it wants to hold the 1650 area for a little bit off the open, so I push a quick little long, but the stock doesn't really have any pump to the north side, and we immediately flush back down. So noticing on that, I just take a quick little exit on a break even slash, I think I lose a couple pennies maybe, or I'm actually getting out break even if I remember correctly. Later on at that 1620 area, I'm watching watching to see what happens. But I'm actually waiting for the stock to open, go below 16, show me a little bit, a failed breakthrough of the 16 area in between this 1550 and in between 1620, let's say 1630, 1650. So in between those two areas, the $16 price point, nice little even dollar price point, go break that price, and then have a fail break off that price, no real follow through to the downside, the stock already being on SSR after being down 20% off the open, could give it a nice little bounce up. And if 16 has some size on the bid, even more of a reason to look for that longs off that area. It never really pushes there. We go down to 1620 right at that December 2022 lows, and then some buying starts to show up, and aggressive buying starts to show up on the tape. So noticing that tape over there, I get into my long, get some out over here near 1680s. Just taking some quick profit because I'm worried about the trade not working out for me, and then later on my last few shares I get out over here. I do notice, however, the stock is holding the earnings VWAP. So this blue line that you're seeing, this blue trend line that we have, or the moving average, not really moving average, but the blue indicator that you're seeing on this lower line or lower chart, which is a 5-minute chart for Mattel. It's the anchored VWAP from the earnings move. That one shows you that the stock actually gets above and holds it for support, which is basically today's VWAP. We could have gotten back into the longs or added into this longs over here, or built into a new position afterwards after seeing the strength. We could have taken the breakout a high a day, or even built into the wedge somewhere in this area, and then had the higher move later on. I could have exited this stock way better. I could have had the first exit somewhere in the pre-market areas, see how the pre-market area tests, and then I could have held this last few shares that I had for a bigger move because I exited the first lot properly. But since I paper hand the first lot, I kind of have to take my profits over here after I see the lower high being established, and the stock basically struggled to push too much higher than, what was that price, right around $18. So struggling to push above 18. That exit would have made a little bit more sense if I first had this out over here. Then I could have held this one a little bit longer, but this one I had to punch out because of this first exit. Overall, profitable trade on the day. I pretty much capture a 15%, 10% bounce, so monster bounce over there on Mattel. Sadly, I don't have enough size. I basically have no size on this trade. All right, because I was waiting for that $16 area to come into play. Sadly, have no size, and I'm not able to punch into the long on the way up because I'm bidding and the stock's just not going down. It's just so aggressively pushing up, probably profit takers or new longs coming in, whatever it is. Just the insane rally to the upside over here, not able to get any orders filled on the bids, and I was not being aggressive. I was being way too passive, missed out on a nice opportunity higher. So even though I caught a 10% move, it didn't really help on the P&L at all. Amazon. I was looking at the $120 area on Amazon on the way down. We actually broke below 120, but then popped right back above 120 on the next candle, as you guys can see right there. So on the move back down, I'm now offering right at, I think, 119.90. So I'm offering at 119.90, and on the way up, it just gives me like a partial entry for how much ever size I was looking for. I actually don't get that. I get a partial entry on this position, and because I have way less size than the minimum lot size that the platform lets us trade with, which is, I'll tell you what it is, 10 shares. I got filled 3 shares on this overall order that I had. It was more than a 10 share order, right? But I got filled 3 shares on this pop up, and the stock just ran all the way to the downside, and I just sat there laughing. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you just gonna give me 3 shares? Awesome. Thanks, Amazon, for that trade. So at the end of the day, I do get $1 per share on that move, and I'm like, I'm not gonna manage 3 shares on Amazon. This is a waste of my goddamn time. I closed my position. It did make a little bit of a lower move later on, and I guess since the screenshot was taken at right around 12 o'clock, we don't really see the bigger move, what happened, if it went lower, if it went higher, or whatever. But this is the trade that we had at that moment on Amazon. We got short, we had the right direction. That's why we didn't get the size that we wanted. And eventually we got a nice little dollar scalp for barely any risk. So good risk to reward. Because we didn't have size on this trade either, it really doesn't help us with what happens for the rest of the day on other stocks for us. Meta, we try a quick long after the stock flushes off the open as it reclaims 280, 289. Nothing really happened, so I closed that position, break even, or lose a couple pennies. Meh, who cares? I once again, now I get a little FOMO after it actually reclaims 289 again, and then gets back to 290 and starts reclaiming 290. So I get long on the break of 290. The stock doesn't really move at all. It just stalls near 290. So I just punch out, get out of that trade right around VWAP. Looks like I made the right decision as the stock does, plummet and flush to the downside big time. We had mapped out some levels over here. As you guys can see, we were looking for these areas, this purple box to hold up. We'll talk about this purple box and more possible trade ideas for meta platforms tomorrow. But as that area for the longs didn't hold, possibly could have flipped short, but just stayed away from it. I wasn't getting the read. I thought the stock was too oversold on positive news catalyst. Zuckerberg did say that they were struggling with the revenue from ads or so. So I guess that's hurting the stock over here, plummeting below 300, getting back below to the downside. And obviously the way the QQQs are moving recently, getting to, and the S&P 500 below 4,200, really hurting the market at the moment. Lots of fear and lots of selling coming in. So meta platforms getting hurt from that, clearly moving to the downside. That was my trade today. Pretty much flat on the stock. Nothing really hurt us on Meta. Nothing really hurt us on Boeing either. But here's where we kind of go stupid on Intel. Intel wasn't really our big problem either. Our whole problem on the day comes from RCL, and we'll get to that in a second. Boeing, quick little short. We were waiting for that 176. We talked about the stock yesterday. Wanted to see what happens on the break of 176. 176 never really comes into play. On the 1 minute chart, I do see this little bit of a wedge pattern coming in. So I'm going to try a quick short right around VWAP. On the 5 minute chart, right here on the 5 minute chart. Is this Boeing? Yeah, Boeing. That's the 5 minute chart. Why does that look so much different? Oh, that's because that's yesterday's chart. Okay, there we go. On the 5 minute chart, it did look like we were. Well, it's a little bit before. Oh, right. Yeah, maybe it wasn't on the 5 minute chart. Maybe it was on the 1 minute chart. It looks like we were rejecting the VWAP right at the higher end of the trend line. If you were to draw the trend line right over here and another trend line right over here to the downside, it looked like we were rejecting VWAP on the 1 minute chart and on the higher end of the trend line. So if the trend line would reject and the wedge was supposed to eventually break, and we do get the breakout, and I was trading in the middle of the trend line, close enough to the trend line too, basically, right? But overall, the stock does manage to close above VWAP, so that kind of shakes me out of the trade. I guess I made the right decision because there's the move overall to the north side on Boeing, and never really pushes to that 170. It's 176. I mean, look, we had a plan to wait for 176. It didn't come into play. We should have stayed away from it. Probably would have saved us a couple dollars on the day, but we got a little greedy because our Mattel trade, which was so monster, we weren't able to capitalize on it. Our Amazon trade, which was so monster, we weren't able to capitalize on it with the lack of size on two of our best trades on the day. Later on the day, we have a little overconfidence and we start pushing some more size than we did on the other trades, so we ended up losing. So Boeing wasn't actually a loss, but here's what happens on Intel and RCL. We kind of start pushing a little bit more size than we did on Mattel and on Amazon, so we basically gave the whole day back. Catching a 15% on move on Mattel didn't matter because losing about a 2% move on RCL fucked us up today. I laughing it off. That's all I can do. I got clapped on Boeing, says Sean. Oh man, I feel the pain. I feel the pain. I feel the pain. But hopefully on other stocks, Sean, you were able to kill it. What's up, Cody? How you doing? T8 says both accounts closed up. Oh, don't say that. Don't say that. Hopefully you're just joking. Okay. Intel. So Intel, what's going on with Intel? I mean, this was kind of the play from the chapter 8 of Anchored VWAP book that I've been reading quite a bit. It talks about, looking at yesterday's move on any stock that's kind of sold off quite a bit. This is the 5-minute chart right here, as you guys can see. Let's actually zoom in for you guys a little bit more. So this is the 5-minute chart. You can see how Intel was just machine gunned all the way to the downside, just non-stop selling continuously. So would you say that does that not look the same? Day one, right? So then the stock also talks about if the stock gaps up a little bit in pre-market, which it did, right? Pre-market goes up. If this is where it closed, it opens up higher than it where it basically closed, and goes and tests yesterday's anchored VWAP. Fails to trade above yesterday's anchored VWAP for too long, rejects yesterday's anchored VWAP, and then starts trading under today's anchored VWAP. And then starts trading under today's anchored VWAP over here, right? That's basically where you want to get short with your risk at the high of these candles. Somewhere over here is where you want to get short with the risk of high of this candle, and then you enjoy the ride to the downside. You could possibly add on the break of yesterday's close, break of yesterday's lows, or sorry, not break, but failure to hold above yesterday's close, failure to hold above yesterday's lows, and enjoy a bigger ride to the downside. How do I screw this trade up for myself? I am not able to recognize this pattern at that moment when the stock actually rejects yesterday's anchored VWAP, and yesterday's anchored VWAP starts curling back to the downside, and today's VWAP rejects also from that same area and is starting to pull to the downside on this position. So all those things considered, clearly a lot more selling coming in, and obviously the way the market was trading today, more selling coming in. I didn't really focus on all that. Only thing I focused at that moment was where the stock was trading in relation to yesterday's close. Yesterday's close was around 32.83. I figured, the stock already showed me a little bit of weakness in pre-market, or at least off the open showed me a little bit of weakness in off the open. I have about a 10-cent room up to 32.83. I can just, add to a loser all the way up there if it pops, which was absolutely stupid way of thinking of a trade. If I want to short a stock around that level, I could have just had an order at that level, and if it gets there, it gets there. If not, then whoop-de-doo, who gives a shit, right? But instead of that, 32.70, 32.75, 32.80, and then my stop, I don't even think about the stop at that moment. It's just I just punch out manually. I go, oh, of course, I'm getting screwed on this trade too, like I got screwed on RCL. So I'm just going to punch out of this trade, say, fudge this day. I'm not going to trade anymore. I'm just going to log out for the day and just watch the market move on TradingView. So I don't focus that, hey, we're right near today's VWAP. We're still rejecting today's VWAP. And all the other things. I get emotional and I just close the trade. All these things are obviously not good things for a trader. You need to be less emotional. You need to be more mechanical, more programmable in your trading style. Programmable, more like a program in your trading style. So today was a little bit of a tilt day over there. I guess it all started with how my week's been going. But tomorrow, hopefully, we are able to complete reset on ourselves going into our market. But anyways, we're not being able to focus on what happened over here at VWAP, just emotionally punching out and saying, you know what, I don't want to trade on the day. Eventually, the stock does give me what I'm looking for, right? It does pull out exactly the textbook play from Chapter 8. I know a couple people in the chat, Dieter, picked up that book over there. And a couple other people in the chat are also apparently looking to get up that book. So shout out to you guys. Chapter 8, man, that was textbook copy of that trade, and it failed to recognize that. And this happened previously too on another stock. Failed to recognize it on that stock too. I think it was Morgan Stanley day 2, day 3 play earnings, and it did exactly the same. Okay, RCL. If you guys can see the RCL chart over here, the daily chart on RCL, the daily chart on RCL for the recent range has been kind of consolidated in this area from like, looks like I can't really see the price, but whatever that price is, right down up to this $80 area, and that $80 price previously was somewhat of a level 2. We can obviously pull this back up on trading view ourselves if we want to see that level. But I actually wait for the stock to get below that price. I actually wait for it to get below 80 and then even get below 79. Here's where things get a little murky. I take the break of 79, right? I take the break of 79 on this position. I guess if I wanted to take the break, I should have just taken the break of 80 because that was the level. I wanted to be a little fancy. I was like, if the stock really wanted to sell off today, I think the real break is the break of 79, because then that would show me a move up to 76, and then if it just reclaims 79, I'll just get away from this position. I thought I was being smart, but I think obviously the real play was the break of 89. The stock goes down to 79, almost 72.50, but then shows some buying at 78.50, and then starts popping back up, and that ends up being your trade overall. The break of 80, quick little in and out, and you're done. Later on, the stock does pop back up and stops me out. So coming back to the 79 entry, when I do punch into the 79 entry, I'm seeing not a lot of selling coming in. The tape stalling, the stock actually not pushing too much to the downside, and actually pops against me multiple times up to 79.50. Scares me a little bit. Almost makes me want to punch out of this position. But now I'm just holding it, Hail Marrying it, praying to God at this moment. And eventually it does give me a little bit more. So immediately as it does flush down there, I'm taking my profits as soon as it's possible and throwing my stop back out near the high of this area, which gets triggered, and I'm like, oh, okay, we got saved a little bit. Thank God we got saved by the big buyer who was here that we weren't able to recognize. Thankfully, we did recognize it quick enough to get that scalp out and then hold a little bit for a possible bigger move, which never ended up coming in. Later on, as the stock does pull back to VWAP and starts curling after making a break above 80, it starts curling. So I'm now thinking, hey, this could be the bigger move, so I'm gonna add, and I'm ready to throw a stop out, but I don't really throw the stop out. Something happens. A lot of volume comes in. The stock rallies to the north side so quick, so fast. I'm at loss for words. The order that I had out here, which I was gonna throw out, aka the stop, wasn't actually crossed far enough for the limit order size that even if I had thrown it, I don't think I would have got the fill over here. So what was the problem is I was lacking a very critical information about the stock today, and that was the conference call. At 10 o'clock, the conference call comes out, and this stock brings in so much volume, opens up the spread so quickly, rallies right back to the north side, actually ending up 1.6% on the day when I took this picture at 1:28 p.m. It was practically impossible. If I had thrown the stop, maybe I would have been able to save myself from losing way more money than I've lost on this trade today. But that was just poor preparation, not being able to know what time the stock was going to have the conference call. Kind of really hurt me on this one, and that tilt made me just log out, say, you know what, I'm just gonna save myself from any more stupid decisions on the day. This was enough tilt. If I tilt anymore, I'm just gonna keep making more bad decisions on the day, and that doesn't make any sense. Not trading is trading in a way cash is a position, so that probably allowed me and saved me or gave me an opportunity tomorrow to wipe out this whole week, and maybe even turn the whole week green if possible. So that's what we're going to be hunting tomorrow, looking for those big reward, low risk opportunities. And especially adding something new to our plan, which should have always been to our plan, is any stock that has earnings pre-market, we're going to be Googling and finding out what time they have their conference calls. Any of these positions that announce earnings pre-markets. All right, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's watch list for those of you interested, and if you do want to include some of your stocks into this watch list, or have some of the stocks that you want me to take a look at, feel free to throw it in the chat. I see Anthony throwing in a lot of stocks over there. If they do volume, Anthony, I'll take a look at it. If not, I'm just gonna kind of skip over them. You know that this is a day trading watch list over here, so that's mostly what I'm going to be looking for, as I need to find place to trade and make money tomorrow, my friend, tomorrow. Earnings plays for today: Amazon, ENPH, Intel. Earnings for tomorrow pre-market: XOM, CVX. Earnings that came out this week, as you guys can see in front of your face right there: Microsoft, Meta, Google, Boeing, IBM, Snapchat. Couple other back burner plays that came out this week overall, but a little bit lower on the volume side: RTX, 3M, Coca-Cola, Visa, NI, RCL. I mean, maybe could go a little bit higher on this list, especially if it does bring in volume tomorrow. Mo, so MO also on that watch list. An after hour mover: ICU and the big tech, because obviously the QQQs, the S&P 500s, are moving pretty drastically in either directions at the moment, and we can find some good trading opportunities with that volatility in play. So let's find some trades over there on this whole big basket of stocks that we are prepping ourselves for. Oh, what the hell was that? Was it some sort of a news over there? Ooh, that's cool. That's pretty cool that they do that. Let's start off with Amazon. Amazon with earnings after hours. Looks like obviously a good earnings report. I mean, the stock popped up over here, starting off with the initial pop in the after hours, then moving right back down, and then popping right back up. Guessing this is where the conference call came out today. Will not be surprised if the conference call was right around that time. Amazon conference call. $5:30 p.m. And right around 5:30, 5:36 p.m., picked up volume again, started rallying right back to the high side and right back into the after hour high. So like I said, wouldn't be surprised if the conference call came right around this period over here for AMZN. Big move, ladies and gentlemen. Monster move for this position. I think I want to put it over here from this candle for this stock. So let's quickly go adjust that, do this, and then do earnings, and see how the stock looks like after the earnings report comes out, how it's been trading. We could possibly put another one over here from this candle if you are interested for the buying action that comes in over here, but I'm interested in all of this buying action going into tomorrow for Amazon. And basically it's tomorrow's VWAP. This will be tomorrow's VWAP as we open into the day tomorrow. This just gives us a little bit deeper insight in the future when we are not looking at this day so specifically. AMZN looks like a little bit of a V-shaped recovery in the after hours, so coming back into this 125 126 areas to the north side. We do have a lot of lines on the chart, so kind of ignore those lines for yourself maybe, but as we do pop back into the higher end of these areas, that's pretty cool. Yeah, popping right back into this ranges 126, which was not yesterday but Wednesday's high. Looks like Wednesday's high kind of coming back into play. If for any reason we do see selling at Wednesday's high, then maybe we do see a little bit pull back into 122, 123 and some buying. But I think Amazon is actually going to save the market a little bit tomorrow and give it a little bit of a rally. The market has been gotten, beat up quite a bit. The market got beat up quite a bit, let's be honest. But I actually want to also go see this. If this, yeah, look at that. I knew that would work out too. The anchored VWAP from, what is that day's low? From October 13, 2022, which was one of the recent 52-week lows, but it's not the 52-week low anymore. Now the 52-week low will be the November 3rd or so. But one of the more recent 52-week lows where the stock actually, or the futures, made a significant low and started making a reversal, that anchored VWAP coming back into play. So bigger time frame players are right now coming into the market. Big hedge funds, big money players, previously wherever they have positioned and repositioned themselves. As you can see, that anchored VWAP came in to play quite a bit, right? Quite a bit later on too. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like this kind of action where the market teeters around this area a little bit and then pops back up. But if we do break below this anchored VWAP, which is a pretty significant anchored VWAP in my opinion, I didn't want to mention this one yesterday just in case it didn't come into play today. But looks like we came into quite good where is that level? We came into play quite close to it today. I mean, look at that. We did get a little bit under at 41.49, but popping back right above, and market's looking to rally up right now. 4,200, 100% in play tomorrow. We would love to see what the market does right back at 4,200 on the S&P 500 futures. Do we get back above 4,200? Do we reject 4,200 and then come right back to the downside? And as I was expecting the market to possibly do something like this for a couple of days right around these areas, and that was around March 14th, 2023, and this was around December 2022. So let's also do another quick little test on this basket of stocks. What was that? March 2023. Right there, perfect. So see how the volatility was high, and then December of 2022. Volatility was not as high, but still pretty high, right? Still pretty high, higher than what we've been seeing in the latest few months. So the idea of what I'm trying to get to over here was every time, sorry, ES, where is ES? Every time we do come to these areas, it's usually where high volatility is, obviously, because the markets has been pulling back. It ends up giving you decent ranges on the futures, on the QQQs also, and on the stocks. So expect a little bit wider ranges, a little choppy action around this price point as we go try and figure out if they're selling at 4,200 or are buyers stepping in right under 4,200 for a better price and looking for the market to pump right back up to the north side. So a lot of questions to be answered, and only father time, whatever it is, just gotta wait for it. I think tomorrow, however, Friday, will not be a free fall Friday. Look, I don't have a crystal ball. Nobody has a crystal ball in this market except for maybe Richard Simmons, right? Nobody has a crystal ball in this market, so I'm not going to predict that there's not going to be a free fall Friday, and you know who's going to love a free fall Friday if it does show up. But I think tomorrow we'll actually see a decent enough of a rally with the help of Amazon, with the help of Microsoft, which has been selling off so drastically. I mean, are you kidding me? Microsoft, good earnings report, selling off so badly to the downside, almost right back to 325, which has been somewhat of a level over here recently. So pretty interested to see what happens tomorrow. I think Google has some sort of a rally in it too. It's been sold off pretty badly to the downside also, right? So I could be wrong. But we're looking to see what happens. We got a couple other stocks over here in the tech basket that also announced earnings. So let's go take a look at Intel. Intel rallying right back up. So I think there we go. This gives me a little bit more confidence. If Intel's rallying, that might give it a little bit of a sympathy trade on Nvidia, a sympathy trade on AMD, a sympathy trade on ARM, which got back under 50, all of which are in the tech basket. Maybe not ARM, but Nvidia and AMD are. Intel obviously is. Amazon obviously is. I think Microsoft rallies tomorrow. That obviously is in the tech basket. Apple back under 170, right? So that obviously brings in some sort of a buying catalyst for that position. I think 166 is what Apple was at one point today. So I'm interested to see if Apple can rally. If all of these stocks are possibly in the contention of going up tomorrow, then the only idea over there then is the market goes up tomorrow overall. So for me to expect free fall Friday will be a pretty hard expectation, honestly. But the Intel coming out with earnings today after hours looks like a nice little pump up to the north side over here. Let's put it from that area and right back above 35 ish on this position. So let's go to the 1 year chart. Right back above 35. Ooh, we're right back over here in these positions. Okay, Intel. So looks like the recent few red days on Intel not really mattering at the moment as the earnings report, allowing the stock to pump right back to this $35 price point. Not gonna expect too much buying on Intel to make it go higher and higher. But if we do see it, I mean, I'll be happy because I do have Intel in my long-term portfolio. And if we do see some trades opportunities on Intel, possible dip buy on the lows or possible breakout longs or any consolidation right around this anchored VWAP from the earnings move comes into play, then I'll be interested to see what happens tomorrow on INTC. ENPH, which has been actually sold off quite a bit recently, selling off a little bit more off the earnings report, sadly. So it looks like the earnings report's no bueno for ENPH. I thought it would actually help them out because I thought that the negative catalyst that came out recently on EHE or SEDG slash ENPH was specific to that them alone and not to ENPH, but looks like I'm completely wrong on that as the stock has obviously sold off quite a bit. Okay, what the? Okay, so 5 minute chart over here. We can kind of put it to, there was not a real volume in the after hours or in pre-market for that move, so I'm more interested in since that volume kind of started. See how since the stock gap down, rejected again today, basically right before, get out of my face, right before earnings came out, and then today's earnings move gapped the stock a little bit more to the downside and possible more weakness coming in. So things like that are pretty important. So that level is pretty key. I'm not saying that this level comes back into play tomorrow, but if it does come back into play in the near future, that's pretty important. And we're also dying to see what happens if the stock pumps back into today's earnings anchor VWAP to the north side. I mean, that looks picture perfect. That looks picture perfect on ENPH. So shout out to that one. I wish I had that one before. I didn't really have it. And this is something that I'm reading about too. The anchored VWAP pinch. This gives you amazing risk to reward trade. So this is like, you know, the shorter term trend anchored VWAP, which is the daily anchored VWAP, and then the longer term, which is the news one. Once it pinches between these two ranges and actually breaks out of that pinch, it gives you a good risk to reward, possible short in this area with the risk right above at the top. But obviously this is the after hour move, so nothing really matters over here unless you were able to trade after hours or unless you were looking to trade it in the after hours and you knew that the earnings report was coming out. Very important position over here because you know, this one did give you a monster rally on that day one itself when it did drop down if you were looking for a long. So if for any reason right over here it gave you a monster rally from what, 97.50 up to 103, even if you weren't looking for those prices, as the stock does reclaim 99, reclaim 100, you got a monster rally up to 103. I'm not saying that's has to happen tomorrow as we are now at 77. It has to reclaim 80 and go right back up to 90 where it closed at yesterday, which would be today, right? But there's some possible opportunities over here to look for some trades on the stock as the catalyst is back in play, and looks like the after hour move was right around a 10 to 15% drop to the downside. So this will also trigger SSR on this position, so be careful for that one on ENPH. Looking for some possible bigger moves to the downside. If we were able to zoom out on this trade, it looks like, I mean, dropping down to $70 is taking us right back into you know, COVID highs. So COVID era highs kind of coming back into play. It's at 78. Yikes, what's COVID lows? COVID lows is $22. I'm not saying we're seeing that, but you know, I think COVID highs are probably not the lows for the stock. COVID highs are probably not the lows for this stock. It's something that I will believe in going into tomorrow. So more downside is expected, and anytime the stock does show some support and some possible rallies, we could look to see how that one plays out. ENPH, what is your what is your PE? 24. That's not bad at all, actually, right? So you could see some possible long-term buyers coming in at the discount prices on ENPH. I mean, this stock was previously at what? Right? So you could possibly see some long-term buyers come in. This stock hasn't lost a goddamn earnings report since 2019. Holy smokies. So pretty crazy over there that this stock is selling off. I guess whatever the catalyst was that brought this stock to the downside and gapped it down is what's actually hurting it on this earnings report over here. I'm guessing the conference call had something to say about, that catalyst over there hurting the stock even more. And now we're looking for that weakness for continuation to the downside. Intel, we talked about it as the whole basket of QQQ stocks, the tech basket. I think Intel is actually going to help the market out tomorrow along with Amazon. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, right? If this one doesn't get saved tomorrow from its good earnings report and sells off tomorrow, then I think Intel has a lot more downside left, because if positive catalyst can't help it, Intel obviously we're going right back to this $30-$31 in my opinion, which we are well above today on that earnings report, right at $35-$36. So let's see what happens at this 35-36 area on Intel. If we can start breaking out about 35-36, maybe we can start seeing that 37 area again. There is some headwind around this area. Is that the right terminology, headwind? There is some resistance right around these highs of 37-38 on Intel. So it'll be hard for me to see the stock punch too much higher than these prices. But if we start getting above this, then I don't know why we don't go to $40 or higher than 40 on a swing term scale. So on a swing term thesis, I don't see why the stock doesn't go right back up into the $40 area going into the end of the year over here on INTC. So be careful if you are short or looking to play short tomorrow. XOM, the first thing we're going to do before even, thinking about looking for any levels to trade off of or getting ready for any levels to trade off of, because the stock has earnings pre-market, XOM conference call time. No, I don't care. Is hosting its third 2023 earnings call from 7:30 a.m. to approximately 8:30 a.m. Perfecto. Muito bueno. I don't have to worry about these guys. Approximately 5:30 a.m. Additional Q&A no comments webcast at 7:30 a.m. What is that? Presentation and formal remarks will be available on the investor section of the website beginning on Friday, October 27th. So they're saying the earnings report comes out at 5:30 a.m. Love it. And then they're doing the conference call from 7:30 to approximately 8:30 right before the market opens. So let me just put that in there. I don't have to worry about this one tomorrow. Now, the next one we have to worry about is CVX. $11 a.m. Is that what I saw? Aha! So be careful for this one over here, because that one can mess with your trade. So okay, good planning, Brad. Good planning. We're evolving. We're learning from our losses. growing and changing and evolving, becoming, going from Charmander to Charizard, baby, or what's the, or Charmeleon, and then eventually, hopefully, we get to Charizard. But right now, let's be honest, we're still just a little baby cute Charmander in our trading career, in our trading journey, still making baby mistakes, cute baby rookie mistakes over here. Still a Charmander. I want to evolve. I want to evolve into that Charmeleon and get to Charizard and start roasting all my trades all day instead of getting roasted sometimes, you know? One day, chat. One day we'll get to that point. But now, hey, we did our research. Only two stocks that I'm interested in looking for earnings report tomorrow. There are other stocks, Colgate, if, the teeth, the toothpaste company, Auto Nation. You also got Philips 66. I don't know what the hell that is. ABBV, but I'm only interested in XOM and CVX to see what happens. Charter Communications, that's also something possibly you guys would be interested in. I know Michael Anthony loves telecom companies over there, so we could possibly look at that stock if you're interested in for earnings play tomorrow. But I'm only interested in XOM and CVX. Moving into the next basket of stocks that we're looking at for tonight, it's actually earnings that already came out this week, possible day 2, day 3, day 4 trades on these positions. Those will be Microsoft, Meta, Google, Boeing, IBM, Snapchat, and RCL. So let's start off with Microsoft over here. Wrong page. Bang. So going to Microsoft, I mean, big selling action into right into the 50 period daily moving EMA. So this is right around what, $327. I think that price right at 326.50 to 325. I don't see the stock going right back to 300s. That's just impossible for me, honestly. Good earnings report, everything looks good. It's just the market just screaming negative at the moment. A lot of profit takers probably coming in. I mean, this stock is just getting blown out, sadly. I don't know what else to say, but I think this ranges should technically hold, in my opinion. So I'm looking to see what happens from 326 to 325. If 325 can't hold, then there is possible a more systemic, bigger selling fear and just weakness in the market at the moment. But I can't see that happening. I can't, man. I just can't. So for any reason we're from 325 to 326, I'll look for some buying so we can pop back into the north side on the stock, and I think we'll have some fun to the north side, especially if we can clear 330 and stay above 330 tomorrow. There'll be some good fun over there on Microsoft. Moving to Meta Platforms, which announced earnings today, or actually yesterday after hours. We thought that this range would come into play quite a bit. I guess it did, honestly. If you see how, maybe I did not at all, Pride. What the fudge you talking about? But if you go to the, it came into play a little bit, yeah, but the range never really came into play. The range that we were looking forward to, anyways. The stock played a lot in its own way, did whatever it wanted to do. I mean, a low of 280, a high of 295, so pretty monster range on Meta Platforms. Huge volume spike too. Holy of smoke, I'm dying over here, chat. Okay, a huge volume spike on the day 2. I mean, makes sense. It's day 1 of earnings, but based on how the stock traded today, I think tomorrow we just see a nice little inside day on Meta Platforms. Even if the day for the market has a monster recovery day tomorrow and we do pop back up, I can't see Meta reclaiming 294 and going back up to 300. I just can't. The numbers were good. The everything came out good, but the stock market is about the future. It's about what's going to happen next. Yes, the past matters a little bit because it's a good indication of what might happen in the future. But when the past looks so good and bright, but when the future, which is the forecast, doesn't look as good, when Zuckerberg comes out and says, their main source of revenue, which I believe is ad revenue, and they're going to get into some sort of trouble in that space, Market not liking that catalyst and really selling off a lot on meta platforms today. Hence, you see it in the lower end of these ranges. I am still going to look to see how the stock trades in this purple box tomorrow. The fact that we got above that purple box and actually closed into the higher end of that purple box, that might be pretty significant. Look how the VWAP is right around the lower end of those boxes too, indicating that today's average price, today's premium price, which is the price that a hedge fund trader would be getting graded off of if he was managing a position for a big hedge fund. That premium price ended up being right around 289 to 290. So I want to see how the stock trades in this box that we have drawn. Once again, that 289 to 290 box better show some buying in this area. If we can peak back above 290 and hold above 290, then possible big moves higher to the north side on the stock. But like I said, I can't see the stock reclaiming 300. I could be wrong though. Okay, Google. Google, what's going on with Google? I mean, I did say we're gonna wait for 120 yesterday, but the fact that it'll be hard to see 120 even coming into play, and that's exactly what happened. 121.27 was the low of day today. No matter what weakness of the market had, Google was stuck in a tight little range in itself. It didn't really do too much, and just, you know, like most of the stocks did, just traded sideways overall. VWAP just flatlining itself, having no life in that range for today. So very, very boring. And as we did say, I don't see 120 coming into play today. It did look out to be that way. If for any reason Google wants to go higher and the market is also going higher, you could look for supports right around the today's close and today's low. If 121 comes back into play, or today's close of 122.28 area, 122.50 area, we get above today's close, hold above today's close, and see some buying coming above the today's close area, you can look for a nice little move into today's high. A break above today's high and holding above today's high could give us a nice little move right back into 125 zone, where the stock is previously held above. So that's what I'm looking for on Google. If the market can have some sort of a rally, I'm looking for some nice explosion move to the higher end of these ranges, where the stock can later on find resistances, obviously. So let's see that play out. The market has been, once again, in my opinion, sold off quite a bit. Any of these tech basket stocks that we're talking about will basically be the same idea, looking for some sort of a relief rally going into tomorrow. But keep in mind, it's a Friday. Usually Free Fall Friday is the story and the song that I keep screaming, but I'll still be screaming that song, and I'll still be screaming that word, but I'm gonna hope that doesn't give me too strong of a bias to the downside, right? That's what I'm trying to do over here by prepping for the long side. Boeing, still gotta just wait for that 176. I mean, nothing really to do besides 176. I don't really want to do nothing else besides wait for 176, and maybe there's a little bit of a range over here from 182.50 to 183. That's up to 184, honestly. Yeah, 182.50 to 184. I don't want to do that. Fine. 182.50 to 184 could find some rejections, but just wait to see what happens at 176 if stock ever gets there. Ta-da! Okay, IBM. IBM, nice rally right off the open today. I was looking at it. I mean, we talked about the stock yesterday. We were looking for that 140 area to come into play. We had in our notes that if the stock can get above 140 and hold above 140, we'll be interested in a long. Never really tested that area. Pops up, consolidates right around today's VWAP, but bounces right off of the anchored VWAP for earnings, holds that anchored VWAP, goes higher for a break of high a day, comes back, holds that area again, and runs back higher for another test of high entire day. So pretty damn strong on the day for IBM, obviously. Also peaking back above this previous range high and actually closing above it. Looks like IBM is getting ready for another move up over here, closer to 145, 146, maybe even 148 on a longer swing term spectrum. So IBM, I mean, we'll possibly be interested to see what happens. Maybe on a pullback to 143 to 143.50 could give us some buying for a bigger move to 146 over here on IBM. So look for buying on pullbacks to 140. What did I say? 143 to 143.50. What am I hearing? I'm hearing some noises. I'm freaking out. Look for buying on pullbacks to 143 to 143.50 for a possible run up to 145/146. I think stock has more room up top in swing terms, so don't try to play momentum. Only play long passively at supports. Okay, Snapchat. Surprisingly enough, Snapchat actually held $5 today. Like, or sorry, not $5, $9 today. After what it did on the earnings move, I mean, we were pretty shocked with what it did after hours on earnings, popping up to 12, getting back down, and then on earnings day off the open, popping up to 10, getting back down, and actually selling off and turning red on the day. Today opening up right around 9, holding 9, and giving you a monster rally to the upside. But this stock has been not really been able to trade too much above 10 for the last 5, 6, 10 days. Not 10, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, basically 10 days. Has been struggling to get above $9.10, or sorry, $10, and actually hold above $10 for the last 9, 10 days over here. So why would I be looking for a long at $9? I don't get it. But it held 9. It gave you a monster risk to reward long, and you were able to enjoy that ride if you were looking for it. So shout out to anybody who did trade that trade today. Held 9 perfectly, rallied right back into the higher end of these ranges. But if for any reason we pop back into 10, I'm looking for a possible short on the stock. I'm sorry, but I mean, you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days in a row, you could not close above 10. On earnings day, you rally above $10 to $11 almost, but then dump right back down and close at 9 again. Actually lower than the last few days. So what the hell is going on over here? So I'm not buying it. There's a big seller over here stuffing this position right back to the downside, and I'm going to lean on the seller side because these buyers are not strong enough in my opinion at the moment. So Snapchat, look for selling at 10. Stock struggling to get above this price for over 9+ days now. Okay, RCL, this one hurt us today, but we're not gonna get hurt by it tomorrow. Okay. Oh, something else I want to add to my watch list is Mattel tomorrow, and maybe even Hasbro. Both of these stocks had a little bit of a move today. Not really sure that I'll find a day 2 play on them, but I'll be interested to see what happens over there. Moving forward to the next stock on the board, RCL, off the earnings report, which was positive, popped up pre-market, but off the open, big selling off the open right before the conference call. And then off the conference call, a monster rally on the position right back to the upside. So if we were to put in a conference call anchored VWAP. You see how that level kind of came into play quite a bit, and then later on the earnings anchored VWAP came back in on the support side on this position. So I guess we can leave both of these lines at the moment for ourselves, kind of see what levels comes into play tomorrow. Conference call anchor VWAP. Kind of see what level is more important. This volume node is a lot more important than whatever happened all pre-market. So I'm a little bit more leaning on the support slash resistance on the conference call anchor VWAP than the earnings anchor VWAP, honestly. But for tomorrow, what setups and what plays do we see based on how the stock reversed from red to green move on the day? I'll be interested to see how the stock trades on a pops into 86 and if it can actually hold above 86 for a possible bigger move to the north side. But it's a grandpa stock. It doesn't really move too much too often. Sometimes on earnings days it does bring in a shit ton of volume and some extra range and volatility, but then it dies right back down to the south side. So day 2 play, I'm expecting an inside candle. I mean, look how big of a candle today was. It'll be hard to expect the stock to do more tomorrow, right? So possible rejections right into this 85.50 to 86 area, and then possible supports right into this area. But if the stock can get above 86, we could see some longs over there. Hard to see stock trade above 85.50 to 86. Could look for shorts here, but if buyers, stay away. Okay, Mattel with the monster rally, boyo, but still sadly down 7-ish% on the day after positive earnings report. Is this the low? I mean, that's the gap. That's the low. We'll just put it over here. Screw it. I mean, popping right back into 2023 lows, almost right back into the price where the stock was at before announcing the Barbie movie and so on. So pretty big nasty drop on the stock, even on a positive earnings report. So I was pretty shocked on it and was looking for any opportunities to get long. And look at that, I bought pretty much the low a day, right? I pretty much had the low a day, and the stock pretty much closed near the damn near high a day. So these are the type of bounces that we've seen these SSR bounces do, and it's also a value name. It's also a stock or that a lot of people know. It's been existing for years. So and this catalyst over here, if people love this price at that point and they missed out on the rally, they will love this price again once it comes back into play, right? So I was looking for any buying between 15.30 to 16, and I was happy to catch that perfect dip low. Just sad that I didn't execute it perfectly to the north side. If for any reason the stock pulls back into 18 tomorrow and shows you some supports right into this $18 area, where's that 18? 18 right around over here. I mean, 18 is not really a level. 18 is not really a level. But if for any reason it does pop into those prices and shows you some buying, maybe we could look for some trades over there. That is a trend that we were on and eventually broke down, sadly. I think this 19 looks like some sort of a resistance all the way from 19 to 20, basically, or this 1950 where the gap close is. We could see some possible wall on this position, and today's high was exactly 1880 on the stock. So I'm thinking, good wall right in front of 19 up to $20 on the stock. Let's just look for what happens on yesterday's high, or sorry, yesterday's low. Anywhere from yesterday's low into $20, possible wall on this position. So we'll just stay away until those levels kind of come in for possible shorts, and if those levels can hold, maybe more long side on the stock. Tomorrow will be SSR day 2, obviously. If Okay, Hasbro. Hasbro also announced good earnings, or sorry, no, this one actually announced negative earnings. This one also had a pretty decent bounce off the open, but I could only pick one at a time. It was either Mattel or Hasbro. Hasbro wasn't down as much off the open as much as Mattel was, so Mattel just looked cleaner. Hasbro also wasn't all the way down to those historic levels. Okay, I'm wrong. It was exactly down to those historic levels, but this one bounced a little bit higher than the historic level, whereas Mattel bounced penny perfectly. So I think that was a cleaner trade, and I made the right decision. There could be a possible area over here to still look for a trade on Hasbro if it does drop into 45.75 or so, but I think this will just be leeching whatever Mattel does. Mattel does a little bit more volume too, 16 million volume on Mattel compared to Hasbro, which only did 7 million shares on earnings day. So I'll be watching Mattel more importantly than Hasbro, so I'll just remove it from our watch list. Back burner earning plays. If for any reason these stocks show some volume and reason to play them again, will obviously be involved in it. RTX positive earnings report, but struggling to get above 80. So need stock. Man, stop being bold. God damn it. 3M dying down in volume already and just ranging out over here. I think having an order on the breakout of 9, kind of like a blind order on the breakout of 91 would be something to look out for, just so we can kind of get alerted when that breakout happens. But until that happens, I think you just stay away from it. Just have a 91 break order and stay away until that happens. Stock is dying in volume and ranging out here. Coca-Cola, we haven't really traded the stock, and this is also doing what MMM is doing, kind of just ranging out over here. At least it's ranging a little bit in a higher range and trending at the moment. So we'll wait. We'll just wait this to see what the stock is doing. No real trades for me, but it's in the back burner for us if we ever run out of trades. Visa, I don't really trade Visa, I'll be honest with you. So we'll just walk away from that one. NEE is a big regret every single day for me because I just watch the stock every single day pop up, rally, 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 and I miss out on these trades. So shout out to anyone who did take this trade on a swing term scale when I pointed it out to you. The fact that the stock was looking good, especially after reclaiming that 54 area, after earnings report coming back to 55, holding 55, and now rallying up to 57. I think one of our viewers, Tobias, 318 LMG gang, also talked about. I mean, I need one of those vests from 318 LMG gang, by the way, dog. You need to hook me up with one of those vests over there. But we called out that move, him and I both. We talked about a possible move to the north sides over here on NEE, especially after that positive earnings report. Very low risk, very high reward, and that reward is going to keep on reaping for you if you're holding it. So just have fun with it until the stock goes back under 54. You're not in worry. So at the moment, I'm just going to be waiting for the stock to pull back to 55 and show me supports at 55. I don't think we're going to see that anytime soon. I think this one's about to take off at the moment and just launch to the north side. So we might have missed the train, but it'll always be on the back burner for me, always tracking it to see what happens. MO, Altria Group, cigarette company. I believe it's a cigarette company at least. Selling off pretty drastically today. That wasn't on my radar until really late on the day. At that point, I was like, wow, why didn't I just look at Altria? So let's quickly put in negative earnings report. Looks like, so let's quickly put in the earnings anchored VWAP for ourselves, which should be basically today's anchored VWAP. It's oftentimes the same anchored VWAP. Okay. Based on that, I mean, looks like 40 is something to keep an eye out for. Today's premium price. Yesterday's price is not today's price, but today's price is right. The premium price is right around $40. So I'm interested to see if we do pull into 40, 40, 50. Is there some sort of a wall there? Today's low of 39. There's some sort of a clear low over here at $41. So maybe not even 40. Just wait for $41 to come into play, and then see what the stock does on that pop there. But looks like that 40, 50 is something to keep an eye out for. So you know what? I'm going to put a level right there. I'm going to put a level right here. I'm going to put a line right there, which is actually that line right there. So we'll remove that bad boy. Move this one all the way back here. And we have these two areas to kind of keep on watch. So as you guys can see, exactly 40.35. Nice little bounce. Maybe go to the 5-minute chart instead. Kind of get a better view if it consolidates at that price at some point in the day. 40 to 40.35, something around these areas could be interesting. And then the next area is right around these areas on Altria Group, which is a $41. So pretty interested to see what the stock does if it does pop into these prices and possible shorts over there. I'm not sure if the stock triggered SSR today. I mean, the price that it closed at, which is only 20 cents or so away from the low of day, the stock is only down 8%. So it's possible that the stock did not trigger SSR. So we'll not be looking for SSR bounces over here. There's bigger move to the downside of the stock wants to sell off, obviously, all the way back to 2020 lows of COVID lows around $36. The breach of 40 today was pretty drastic in itself, that we could see more selling come into play. So you want to be careful. There's some sort of a level around $38 over there, so we could see the stock drop much lower there before more buying comes into play. So you want to be careful for that. But any pops into 40 to 40, 50, if that area doesn't show you weakness, then the next area in my opinion will be 41. 40, I'm just gonna put 40.35 / 40.50. Okay. I see you coming back into play, ladies and gentlemen. I know you guys love those small cap stocks. I see you recently popped above $1, but then popped right back below $1, sadly, and died down. So right over here, as you guys can see, we were looking at it on this day. I think we even have the anchored view ops plopped in for ourselves since that day's catalyst, and then we basically stopped looking at this position. But I see you, monster rally right back to $1, but then struggled to hold the dollar area and pushing back down. If you go to the 5-minute chart, you can kind of see a better view of what really happened. Now that we're popping right back into $1 over here in the after hours with decent volume, I think it did about 7 million shares or so. Yeah, 6.6 million shares over there coming in the after hours for ICU, popping right back into $1 and holding around that $1 price point. Once again, if the stock can show buying at 1 and hold above 1, we'll be interested. But based on history, and history is always a pretty good indication of what's happens for these positions in the future, based on that, if one can't hold, stay away from this position. All these other stocks that we have on the big tech basket, Apple, AMD, I mean, I believe all these stocks will just, everyone has their own levels, everyone has their own thesis, and my thesis is tomorrow will be some sort of a relief. I can't see the QQQ going too much to the downside once again, or S&P 500 either. If I can actually, where is my QQQ 52-week low anchor VWAP? I guess I deleted it. Let's put it from more significant low. That's right around 336. So you're telling me there's a little bit bigger room down there? Yikes. That's possible. I mean, I'm not gonna refute that. That's actually also basically the year to date. That's basically the year to date anchor VWAP. So, I mean, if QQQ wants to pull back all the way down there, who am I to stop it? So that's another. How much of a percent drop is that? That's about another 2% drop or so on the market. We fall Friday? Question mark. I mean, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that, right? I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to jinx it at all. Year to date. Let's go to year to date. And where is that? Where is year to date? And we're already under year to date on the S&P 500 ETF, that is not on the futures, on the S&P 500 ETF. We're already under. See how we kind of had some support for a couple days right at the lows of 420. 420 also looked like it was going to hold, but now we're clearly well under the year-to-date anchor VWAP, kind of showing you that whatever buyers were fighting for this position are kind of worried about this trade at the moment. If you were dollar cost averaging on S&P 500, constantly buying this position on a timed interval every single month, every single week, whatever it is, at this point you're worried, right? At this point you're kind of worried. So this kind of opens up a little bit more fear now that we kind of see it on this way. Not saying that this is an exact tactical trending trade pattern, this is a level and indicator you trade out of. I don't know why I just made that noise or why did I sound like that. But I'm not saying that. But it kind of shows you some sort of perspective of traders and where investors and where 80% of the market, which is big money, right? Where 80% of the market is kind of worried about on this trades possibly. So SPY moving down, QQQ moving down. But I will say honestly, where's ES futures on the 1 year chart, bounced perfectly off the previous 52-week low, which is right around these big candles. But if we were to put in a year to date, we're well under year to date on the NQ, basically S&P 500. And then the NQ futures, if we were to put in the holy smokes lines, basically how the QQQ looks over there too. So QQQ looks like it has a little bit more room, maybe slightly under 14,000. Maybe QQQ has to go to 14,000, another 200 point down on the QQQs before we see any bounce. The S&P 500 already broke 4,200 futures, that is, and 420 area, so a little bit of a downside on the S&P 500. But look at this consolidation and these highs on the S&P 500 right at 410. So if 410s can't hold on SPY, I mean, that could open up a little bit more downside, and obviously Qs are screaming that there's a little bit more downside within themselves, so that is a little bit worrisome. Something that could make or break tomorrow to the upside or the downside will be the economic data. So how does the economic data look like tomorrow? We got the 830 core PCE number, and that's pretty important. We got the Michigan. We got the Michigan inflation number coming out at 10. Last time they announced something, that moved the market too. So watch out for market to move at 10 o'clock. But then everything else besides that looks pretty much useless for us for the overall market moves in general. So 8:30 and 10 o'clock are the two important time periods for us to keep an eye out for to see what happens on the market. I mean, I've said this enough times today. It's like a broken record. I think I don't see the market going down too much, but I really hope and pray that you guys don't let that bias influence you, and I don't let that bias influence me and keeping us away from the short side if it does open up tomorrow, because boy oh boy do we love free fall Friday, right? So let's look out for that. Let's go to the chat over here real quick before we call it on the day. Make sure that you do hit the like and subscribe if you have not already. You know how much that means to me. It will help me out big time with the whole YouTube algorithm and all that cool stuff. And if you have not checked out all my links down below in the description, feel free to go click on those links. It will help me out if you do use any of my affiliate sponsor links to subscribe to the products that I use daily for trading every single day. And also, if you have haven't followed me on any of my social media, all my links right down below. Go click on those. Chat coming in. Michael Anthony, HMST. Why does that sound familiar? HMST average 10-day vol or yeah, 500,000, 300,000. Nothing going on over here for myself. Home Street. Yeah, nothing going on over here. If you notice today, many banks were up today, but my favorite is HMST. Okay, I like that. Bank of America and WCF were two more banks that was up today, and many by using a chart. I mean, yeah, banks got beat down quite a bit. Banks got beat down quite a bit, even after positive earnings. High interest rates equals more money for banks. Obviously, more struggle for their customers, but more money for banks. And they struggled a little bit. They sold off. Charles Schwab struggled. JPM struggled. Bank of America, I think, struggled, if I remember accurately. But they all had a pretty good day today. Shout out to the banks. They were kind of in play for sure. But tomorrow, I think there's a bigger in play sector, the oil sector. That'll be fun to see what happens. CX dip on Wednesday to $5.86. Looking good again. I like it. Sean, I can show you 318 LMG ridiculous percentages. Yeah, go follow 318 LMG on Instagram, Twitter. What is that? Instagram, I think. Yeah, go follow 318 LMG on Instagram, ladies and gentlemen. BSBSW. I think I remember that. Isn't that like something Body Works? SB. Nope, that's not what I think it was. So never mind. Another stock that does barely any volume. Oh, this one does decent volume. 5 million shares. Not bad. Non-energy minerals company. But the chart looks pretty dead to me. Yeah, I don't see a trade in it for myself tomorrow. VGR. 500,000 shares, no trade in it for me tomorrow for sure. Buying the dips on the pinch chart does tell you when to buy support levels. Are you talking about anchor view at pinch? Yeah, anchor view at pinch is a pretty decent technique that I've been actually looking into more and more. So once I finish reading the book and understand it more for myself, I'll dive deeper into it. Proudly, I put up my numbers yesterday, but they were taken down. I thought we cheer each other over here. I just wanted to help. Where did you put up your numbers and who took it down? What are you talking about? I got no moderator. I don't moderate it. I didn't take nothing down. Unless YouTube took it down. YouTube probably thinks you put down like phone numbers and trying to scam people, telling people to come join your Telegram and shit. YouTube probably did that. I didn't do shit, bro. If I did that, I would just ban you from my chat, right? You're always welcome to come in here, promote yourself if that's what you're trying to do. But yeah, feel free. That is cool, but I brought many of these to hold over until Monday. Yeah, good luck to you, Anthony. Honestly, no trades for me on those stocks, sadly, because they don't do volume intraday for myself, mate. And anything can happen on the conference call. Don't trade during conference call is a safety policy. Yeah, I wish I knew a company today was announcing conference call. It sadly that hurt me, hurt my feelings more than anything. Amazon was okay. Talked about the AI news was like many tech companies. What about AI and stock rally? Yeah, makes sense. Intel report earnings also, but could sell off just like Microsoft gains in the after hours and more to the close to the 20-day. Okay, garbage rallied today. Even garbage rallied. I guess when that rally happened near the end of the day, some stocks did move up. 9 for 9 today. Sheesh. Okay, Tobias. I like it. ENPH was up today. Michael, ENPH. CVX is in my long term. PXX is Phillips 66. Yeah, well, I don't know what Phillips 66 is. I know what PSX is. I can see it right here. Where is it? Where the hell did it go? I can see it right there. PSX Phillips 66. I don't know what that is though. I look to buy with the signs of accumulation. Come on, TH, you're getting too fancy, dude. Just buy high, sell higher. That's what I do at least. Or short high and sell back, buy back higher. Right? Buy high, sell higher, short high, buy back higher. As long as you're doing something high, stay high, be high, do high, get high. I was going to make some money and then I got high. Wait, that doesn't make sense, but you guys make sense. You guys know what I mean. Okay. Hi, Prad. It was a bad day today for the longs. I smashed it and hit the like. Thank you for and see your plan for tomorrow. Thank you, John. Why am I struggling to read English, man? My brain is messed up. Many retail stocks have been up, and so on. Yeah, SPHW has only 30 cent upside, then down. Okay. UA mostly unchanged. Under Armour? I think UA is Under Armour. Or was that UAA? Yeah, UA was Under Armour. I knew that. Yay, UA Under Armour, $6 stock. Wow, big yikes for that one over there. MO stock having terrible year. Yes, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. CDP, TraderPrad, baby. Yeah, the picture. The picture was actually the picture of the Sixth Sense kid, the kid from Sixth Sense who says, "I see dead people." That's where it's from, if you haven't got that yet. Some traders said he buys high and sells higher. That's me. That's me. 100%. I buy high and sell higher. Wait. No, that's not what I do. I buy high. No, yeah, buy high, sell higher. Yeah. No, wait. That means you're making money. No. I buy high, sell low. There you go. That's what I do. That's what I do. That makes more sense. Thank you for correcting me, CDP. Anyways, after all this embarrassment and an hour and a half of some charting and some talking about my trading on the day today, hopefully I was able to find some levels for you to make some money on and some areas to be interested in, some stocks to be interested in. And if you are new to the channel over here, feel free to hit the subscribe button and like and leave a comment and so on. Would mean the world to me. We do this every single day, Monday to Thursday. Why did I say every single day? Monday to Thursday, 8 p.m. And then sometimes on Friday and maybe on the weekends, we'll start making a little bit of a schedule for content to be posted regularly on the weekends and so on. Still need to get into the groove of all of that and figure all that stuff out. So stay tuned. We got a lot of stuff planned out for this channel, so I wish you all to stay here with me until we get all that going. And once that's going, I hope all of you enjoy what I have in store for you. So until then, ladies and gentlemen, have a great night, have a better trading session, and have an even better weekend, because I will not be seeing you here tomorrow at 8 o'clock. I will see you back again at Monday 8 p.m. Have a great weekend. Ciao.